Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Are you tired of grinding away to make money, feeling like you need to clone yourself to make your business a success? I know, I was once there too, working 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week with no me time and totally overwhelmed. I knew there had to be an easier and more fun way to make massive money. And that's when I discovered passive income. Fast forward years later, and now I consistently make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year while I sleep and with little of my time. My Lord, is this a freeing and empowering feeling. It's my mission and passion to teach all of you to do the same. So I created the exclusive ProjectME Passive Income Posse, where I directly teach you how to incorporate passive income streams into your life and business. If you desire the same financial freedom I've created, message me on Instagram or Facebook at ProjectME with Tiffany, and I will send you the group application requirements. We're keeping this group small so everyone gets customized guidance and attention. All right, now back to today's episode. Welcome to the ProjectME Posse and podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter. Today I have on a couple of online entrepreneurs who turned their love of travel and jewelry into a successful online business. Jordanna and Emma, it's actually mother and daughter. They're both gemologists, jewelry designers, and co-founders of Jordan Road Jewelry. I'm so excited to have you both on. I actually didn't know I was getting you both today. So I'm super excited that I get to have like a mom-daughter duo. That's so cool. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Thank you.
Good. We're super excited.
So whenever I interview like two people, I call it a threesome, which sounds really inappropriate, but that's what it is. I'll generally like direct you and I'll ask you a question because it's easy to talk over each other. So Jordanna, why don't you like give us a little bit of the story of like how Jordan Road Jewelry like came about?
So this was a few years ago. I just moved back from New York and didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just left working for a jewelry designer, and we went to India to volunteer with children and just stumbled upon these like amazing craftsman jewelers, kind of bought a bunch of stuff for ourselves and brought it back, and our friends took interest in it. And that's kind of where it started.
And you named your line or your company after a road in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, it's one of our favorite cities, and it kind of ties in with my name. And we just were like, one day we saw it, we were in Hong Kong, and we are like, that would be so epic as a company name.
So Emma, what is it that made you guys like go in this together, right? Because like one of you could have easily done this probably on your own. So what made you guys like join and do this together?
Well, I think we're both creative in different ways. I'm a seasoned interior designer, so I come from a different viewpoint, but I think together we work really well. And, we're a great team. We've been a great mother and daughter team for a long time, like our whole lives.
Like if I worked with my mom, I'd have to be really medicated. So I'm impressed.
We definitely wanted to do something together.
Yeah. We've always wanted to do some business together.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys both are gemologists, but there's a lot of people who have jewelry lines, successful jewelry companies that, didn't go and put in that extra effort to go and actually study gemstones and get that experience. So Jordanna, like what made you guys decide, no, we need to do this. Like we need to get that like proper education, so to speak.
So when we were in India, I think the industry, gems and diamonds, you don't, unless you're very educated, like you don't really know. And so we were just going to India and trusting these people. And I'm like, I want to know my shit, like I don't want people to take me for, being this young and American and like, who knows what they could sell me. So that's kind of where it started. And then we just got so into it and it was really intense and grueling, but it was a lot of fun.
So like, Emma, how was this going through this experience? Did you guys like have to go to like back to college? Like, how does this whole gemologist thing work?
That's pretty much. We were fortunate enough that the head of GIA, which is where we studied, is in Carlsbad, and so it's it's still in the state of California. So we would drive there, do labs there, and then do the rest of the work online. So it was a multi kind of thing, and it was enjoyable.
So what do you have to say, Jordanna, about like there's so many, especially like right now, there's a lot of like millennials like yourself that are really wanting to have, and I coach a lot of them that want to have, an online business. They want to have a location independent lifestyle and like travel the world and sell stuff online and be an influencer. What do you have to say to people who are wanting to do it? There's a lot of people who like want to be jewelry designers and like go online. Like, what do you have to say to people who are wanting to start it? Is there any advice, anything that you think that they need to really think about?
I think you need to be a jack of all trades. That's really important. There's a lot of things, we don't just design jewelry. We literally do from A to Z anything that like needs to be done with the business. And just, I think a lot of people want to do something, but it's a lot of work and it's more than you probably think it is. And it kind of becomes your life, but you just have to keep going. That's another big thing that I think is just not giving up on it.
Would you say, Emma, that is this a myth? I love doing like myths and facts because people make a lot of assumptions, when they don't know or when they see people online, like your daughter who's super cute and trendy and they make, it's like, oh my God, she just like randomly thought of designs and like just post some pictures, right? So, and I know from being an entrepreneur, that's far from how that works out. Right. But as far as like myth and fact, did it take a lot of money to start this brand?
Well, it did take some money initially until we really got going. There's no way to start it without some money. We were traveling to India, we were buying product, so we had to do that initial investment. But once we got going, and that did take a long time. It took over a year to do all that. Then we stopped. Then we started making money.
Are you still an interior designer?
Just not really. I'm doing more of this than that, but I can't give up my love for it.
So, as an interior designer, were you an entrepreneur?
Completely.
So you already had that experience, like coming into this.
Yes, I did. I've been an interior designer for well over 30 years. And yes, I worked on my own. I had people working for me. So I understood the concept.
Because I say to people, because I have another company, a parent company I've had for 11 years. And this business, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, isn't even a year old. And a lot of people go, well, it must have been easy to start a second company because you already had 11 years of experience. And I said, no, I had very convenient amnesia of how hard it was to start a company. And if I'd remembered, I would have never started it. Can you relate to that?
Yes, completely. I can totally relate to that. Yeah, you do. You forget how hard it is. It is a tremendous amount of work, as you know.
So, Jordanna, what would you say is the most rewarding thing about actually making money and doing something that is your passion? And what is the most challenging thing?
Well, the most rewarding thing that we've done so far has been engagement rings, custom engagement rings. Just seeing how happy that makes people, it's incredible. It makes us so happy. And when we got into this industry, I definitely loved the aspect of like jewelry always makes people happy, whether you're buying it or giving it or whatever you're doing with it. Like it's just such a happy thing, which I love about it. Challenges, there's been a lot, but definitely dealing with India was kind of our biggest struggle. And I think that took us a little bit of time to get, figure out our distributors and who we can trust and where we can go. And so that's kind of been, one of the challenges.
I mean, there are, just like clothing, just like fitness, just like a million things, hair products. There are millions and millions and millions of jewelry brands, designers that are out there. So like, I'm going to ask you both the same question, but I'll start with Emma. Like, what do you feel sets Jordan Road Jewelry apart? Like, what is your unique niche and presence to this really loud market of jewelry?
Well, I think that, it's certainly very, I don't know how to say this. I mean, stylish, of course. I think Jordanna represents our brand really well with her style. And I think that comes through in the products that we carry. And as far as engagement rings, it's a one-on-one. But we are coming up with new concepts for engagement rings, and we're really excited about that.
So would you say that what makes you guys different is that you are taking like a fresh approach to jewelry design?
Yeah, that's a very good way to put it. It completely is a fresh approach. And, we're going to run with that.
So Jordanna, here's full disclosure, you guys. I always like telling people, like, I handpick all my guests. So how this even came about. And this is the power, right? This is the power of influence and, in letting people know about what you do for a living. You never know how you can get your next customer or your next media opportunity. So I have two hairstylists because I'm bougie like that. But my weave is done by a mutual friend, Brittany, and she's wearing this really cool, as I like to call it, like a stack, like a necklace stack, which I know a lot of you guys listening have seen where, girls are wearing like 2 or 3 different layered pieces of jewelry. And I'm like, dude, that's a legit stack. And I know my girl Brittany isn't like, going out and spending like $5,000 per gold piece, right? Because if you buy real gold, that's expensive. And I was like, I kept seeing her wearing the same stack and it wasn't tarnishing. It wasn't, rubbing off, and that's what happens to all my stuff. So I was like, what the hell's going on? And I asked her about it. So this is how all this came about. So then I have to ask you, even just selfishly, Jordanna, how is it you guys are able to have these gold pieces that maintain their wear? Because that's in my opinion, what I notice in the jewelry industry. If it's not like, so to speak, solid, right? Which is, most people can't afford solid gold. I mean, come on. That it ends up tarnishing or rubbing off or getting like nasty.
Yeah, I think a lot of our customers want fashion forward pieces that aren't going to break the bank and that they can wear every day and style them all sorts of different ways. But we work with gold filled jewelry. So it's actually like certain types of metal mixed with gold so that they won't tarnish. That's one. And then another thing we do is brass plated jewelry, but we just have found some really great vendors, and it kind of runs the gamut with brass plated jewelry. I have seen some that tarnishes and some that doesn't. I think you just have to find good sources for those pieces. But yeah.
What would you say has been like every new entrepreneur has had like a lot of missteps, a lot of mistakes. We all know that. But what are some of your like big wins so far that have happened for you?
I think a lot of them are just like little victories, like little things where, we used to hand deliver jewelry, and now that seems ridiculous to me. I have UPS doing that. But it's kind of like those little things that you don't even think about. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, like we have this, like we already did this. We've accomplished that. That's kind of like our big moments. And then definitely the engagement rings was a big moment.
And, Emma, you guys were positioned to be able to go into those, I don't know the right term because I'm not a gemologist, but those like, I guess you could say higher end stones because you have the background. So right. it wasn't foreign to be able to source higher end stones, right?
Yeah, of course. When you go to people in other countries, you really have to know what you're looking at, and because I hate to, be down on anyone, but I mean, we want to know what we're looking at, and not just based on what someone else is telling us.
So tell our audience, so we know, like, what are some like telltale signs, whether we buy something online and we receive it, or we're looking at something in person. What are some telltale signs that like jewelry is poor quality or stones are like poor quality?
I think with fashion jewelry, you're always going to run the risk, especially because it's usually a lower price point. When it comes to diamonds and engagement rings and stones like that, if you don't know what you're looking at and you aren't working with like a trusted gemologist, I think the biggest thing is getting a certificate so that you know that that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've heard horror stories of people getting stones and diamonds that are not what they seem and paying, a lot more or a lot less and getting really taken for one. And it can be a really shady business. So I think the biggest thing is, working with somebody you trust, or making sure that there's some sort of certificate saying this is what it is.
Do a majority of your sales come from Instagram? Like, where are the percentages? Where are you guys getting a majority of your sales from?
Yeah. For fashion jewelry, for like, the stuff we do every day, it's Instagram. People, I get targeted and I buy stuff all the time off of it. So I think that's like our biggest selling platform, which is awesome.
And is it organic, meaning through your unpaid content, or is it a mix of organic Instagram marketing and paid ads?
Yeah, it's both. We actually just started working with Brittany's husband, who does marketing. So he's helped us get into that field, which that's a whole nother world. But I've noticed both. We get organic sales, and then we get a lot of views through those paid posts, and hopefully that can keep growing us.
So have you gotten any free press yet, or have you done anything to try to get, some influencers wearing your pieces? Are you looking at that marketing avenue?
Definitely. I think that's our next route. We've kind of just been getting off the ground still and figuring out where we fit within the market and what our vibe is and who we want to be. But I think our next thing is working with influencers, because they influence the heck out of everyone. I mean, they're huge.
Right. I mean, it's definitely a huge business. And for sure, when I coach people or my group, I tell them, like, when you're at a certain point with a certain product, like, influencers, make sense. You get, fresh eyes of your target audience on your stuff. So I got to know this. You guys are going to probably get uncomfortable, but that's fine. So, Emma, what is the biggest reward and the biggest challenge in working with your daughter?
Oh my God. Both of us are very easygoing, calm people. So it's not challenging at all to work with Jordanna. I mean, it really isn't. I've enjoyed every step of it. It sounds crazy, but there is no downside. I really mean that.
Wow. Does Jordanna feel the same way?
I do. I wish that I had something to tell you that I hated, but I get so sad. Like, she was just out of town last week, and I get so sad and lonely when she's not here. It's like, I hate working alone, and I'm constantly, if we're not working together, we're on the phone together. Maybe it's too much, but we love it.
No, that's awesome. I always say, because here's what I know my listeners are thinking right now, like those who want to or have a product-based business, right, and really want to grow it, or they have an idea to do it. I know what a lot of you guys are thinking right now. It's like, well, there's two of them. So now they have two people to do the work, and it's just me, and I have 3 children, and how am I going to do it? And it's like, what do you guys have to say to that? I mean, yeah, it's great that you have each other, but do you have this business set up where if one of you had to take a majority of the work, it could happen?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. I think we have our defined roles, which really helps. It's not like, maybe that is something that, not that's a challenge, but I think that's really good. We've set I do social media And
Yes.
like, there's different aspects that we've split up.
Right.
But I think just like really, if you want to start something and you have kids and whatnot, I just feel like if you're passionate about it and you can keep going at it, like that's half the battle.
So it's really hard to get traction organically on Instagram unless you already, are connected to an influencer or you are a celebrity or something like that. So it looks like from an outsider's point of view that you gained traction on Instagram and sales quite quickly. So can you give us like an inside look at the reality of what it's taken you to get to where you're at this point?
You have anything to say? Yeah, I think just keep going with posting, and it gets to be a really difficult space at times. Instagram is, so I have a love-hate with it. But being really like, I think authentic and true to like your vibe. And yeah, I went to school for fashion, so that's kind of always been my other niche. And I've always tried to tie in jewelry with fashion. So, maybe that's where we see the jump, is that we get fashion people. Yeah, I have such a love-hate with Instagram.
Well, talk about it. Like, what is the hate part? Because if you're feeling it, so are other people.
It's become, if you don't have over 10,000 followers, that you're not really anybody. And yeah, it's just become very salesy, which I love, but it's not as organic anymore, obviously. And who do you know who's paying for followers, and where do we, all that type of stuff. And it's just, sometimes I just want to post like pictures of my dog, but it's like, you have to think about it all the time.
Right. It's strategic. You can have a personal account and do that, but like, yeah, you have to be thoughtful and strategic. And let me tell you something, coming from someone who has quite a few sponsors, influencers and sponsors know who has paid followers. It's very easy to tell. It's a very simple math equation. And I'm saying that not just to you guys, but to listeners. Like, it can be very tempting to buy followers. Like, I don't even judge people necessarily when you do it, because it can just be tempting. But if you really want to have influencer deals, sponsorships, affiliate links, or whatever, it's very simple math. It takes me 2 seconds to tell if someone has paid followers. So yeah, so I respect that you're grinding it away.
Yeah, I know. I swear sometimes like my day is literally just filled with Instagram posting, and I'm like, don't I have anything like better to do? But like, that is my job, like to be getting more followers and more eyes. So as many, photos of my hand I can take in one day.
Well, and think about it this way, right? Before social media, right? What did people have to do? Like, I go back to thinking about my dad, right? My dad imported products from Hong Kong, and sold them here. And he had to go and have in-person meetings with stores. Not to say there wasn't like some email follow-up when that was around, right? But he had to like actually like have in-person meeting after in-person meeting, which in my opinion sounds like a lot more work.
No, for sure.
Right. Versus me just like texting away and, posting stuff behind my iPhone.
Right. And like how I'm in my bathrobe right now. Like, yeah. I think we'll be okay. Like, if I showed up to an in-person meeting like this, I'd be like the crazy cat lady. So I want to understand like a little more about your design process, right? Are you guys actually designing the pieces, or are you sourcing the pieces already put together like in a ring and as a necklace, and they already come like that?
We do both.
Yeah.
There have been pieces from our, more accessible collection that we've been like, oh my God, this is a great idea. Let's add charms. And I sit and I literally hand make each piece. And then we also attend jewelry shows and see things that we're just like, that's amazing. And these are wholesalers. So they, work with us and we become their vendors, or they become our vendors, and we sell their pieces.
So Emma, how do you guys figure out how to price all your pieces? Because, obviously when you have a multitude of products, that's a lot of different SKUs,
Right.
so how do you guys navigate on how to price things?
Well, let's see. How do we do
It's been a
it?
little bit of trial and error, I think, over time. But we just kind of look at what's in the market and what our margins are that we need to make. And I think the great thing about us is that we are direct to consumer. So we're able to keep our prices down because we don't need to sell at a wholesale price to somebody else. That's like that kind of became a big thing when we were figuring out where we wanted to be in the market. Do we want to sell to online retailers or stores? Which we tried for a little bit, and it just wasn't really our thing. I love just being the brand and like being so hands-on with it. And I want it to be me us working on it all the time and not just giving up control of it. So we are able to keep our prices down because you just get to work with us all the time.
How do you both handle the whole shipping thing? Because, with Amazon Prime and a lot of retail, big online retailers offering free shipping. And then when people go to these more like online, boutique type businesses and you have to charge shipping, people are like, oh, I don't want to have to pay shipping. So how do you guys handle the whole shipping thing now?
I'm lucky.
Well, I think what we did is we left it up to USPS and UPS. They give you the shipping costs. Because I definitely thought that in the beginning. I know for myself, I buy something for $15 and then it's a $15 shipping fee. And I'm like, oh, I don't need that. So we kind of put it into the hands of the carrier. And so that we don't look like the bad guy.
So do you guys have it on your site? Like someone puts in their zip code and it can like churn out the estimated cost of shipping?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And since you have jewelry pieces, they're not heavy and large. So it's not that bad. That's a good idea. Like you just put it in their hands and you guys don't feel compelled to offer free shipping and bake that into your price?
I think we've done that at times when we do promotions and stuff, which is great, like an added bonus. But just for regular everyday shopping, we're not the shippers, and so we don't really want to deal with that.
That's not your lane. That's not your expertise.
Yeah, we do it. We have enough lanes.
I like that. And speaking of special offers, I know that you guys are so generous that you created a discount code for the posse. It's ProjectME, and you guys can go to Jordan Road _ Is that right?
Jordan Road. For
your Instagram?
Yes, yeah.
It's Jordan Road _ and obviously link in bio, but use the code at checkout ProjectME and you get 15% off. And you guys, like, they're obviously you can't see because we're on a podcast, but the stack that you're seeing everyone wearing, including, the infamous Kardashians with the coin necklace, gold stack, they have a high quality version of that stack that's a lot more affordable. So that's the one I was referring to that like my hairstylist was wearing. And I'm like, how are you still wearing it? And it looks brand new. That's where all this came about. So you guys go check them out, go follow them, and like kind of snoop around on their Instagram if you're interested, right? And you have a product-based business, or you've always wanted to be a jewelry designer or have like a fitness wear line, any kind of product-based line, like go check out how they're doing it because, both of them are still in the beginning phases, but they're making money, right? So they're doing something right and they're not so far along where it seems like out of reach. Also, I mean, would it be fair to say, Jordanna, that like if someone wanted to like hit you up in the DMs and ask you a question, that's cool?
Oh my God, of course. Yeah. I think, I use Instagram for everything. And a point about kind of going into our Instagram is like the stacks, like I style those and I show you how to stack them. And, if you follow us on stories, like I layer them and, which ones go together. So I think people need help with that. I think a lot of people are like, I want the stack, but like, where do I start? Mm-hmm. And so that's definitely something that we play up on Instagram.
Oh my God. I want a custom stack now. Okay. I'm DMing you then. I want my own stack. Like I want to be that person. Very cool. Well, it was so nice talking to you guys. How refreshing to see like a mother-daughter team. That's so cool. It's rare to see that anymore. I love it. And I hope you guys enjoyed yourself on the show.
Thanks. We loved it.
It was great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.